Thank you everyone for joining. It looks like we have at least 50% of the registry folks so far. So that's good. Just as a quick introduction, my name's Jim Riherd. I'm the VP of Operations here at MeasureSquare, and I'm going to be running a presentation today that's going to give you guys a update and a preview of what's coming for MeasureSquare 8. More or less specifically the commercial edition that most folks are on. This is probably the third webinar we've done in the last few months. We're going to make this a regular event. I know this was a bit short notice for some folks, so we do apologize for that. We wanted to fit this in before we get really busy on our end with going to trade shows and different things like that. So we want to fit this in before we were gone for most of this month, or at least some of our team members are. And so we'll be doing these on a regular basis. We'll be doing one in February that I think will be very relevant to anyone who's in this meeting. So we'll be promoting that pretty soon. I'll talk about it a little bit at the end and give a bit of a preview of it. But if you're a commercial MeasureSquare 8 user or even do some multifamily retail work, it might be another webinar that you will be interested in joining as well. And then just as a real quick, Keelan, you can see my screen and hear me okay still? Okay. All right. So as a quick overview of what we're going to cover today, make sure I can switch this. So again, my name is Jim Riherd. We'll be going over MeasureSquare 8. And this is essentially going to cover what we're going to be releasing in the next few months. And then we'll go through a demo. I'll go through the specifics of some of those updates, get your guys' feedback from the Q&A, and then any questions that may come up during the demo or after. So we'll be staying on a bit after the presentation to try to answer as many questions as we can. And then we'll give you a little bit of a preview of our next webinar, our next topic, which will be a different product, but still be related to the commercial work and flooring. And then I'll give a quick preview of where we're going to be, in the coming months, in case anyone's going to trade shows and wants to get some face-to-face time with us in person. And as a reminder, I'm going to keep everyone muted for this since we have a pretty large attendance. This is a new platform, so if any technical issues happen, please bear with us as we do this. Ask any questions in the QA chat as well. And I think we'll be running a couple polls to test that feature out to see if that is a helpful way to interact with everyone who's joined. And a big part of this is to get your feedback. We want to do this before release. So if there's any major changes or really small changes that are impactful, we can get those in before we release, and then it doesn't have to wait till the next update or two. So we are looking to get anyone's initial feedback during the session, and then I'll give you some info that if you are interested in testing this out before we release it, which is going through a testing phase now, we'll give you some info on how to contact us regarding that. All right, so I'm going to jump into my next slide here. So just as a kind of a quick evaluation of how this came about. So MeasureSquare, we're a very forward technology-facing company. We're always trying to see what's coming up regarding technology in our industry and how we can bring that in to assist our customers. So we've been continuing to evaluate existing and emerging technologies and advancements and how they can be applied to our trade. So what this all kind of boils down to is MeasureSquare 8 Commercial has implemented image recognition technology such as auto takeoff, which is already there, so some of you may be familiar with it. OCR, which is a text recognition piece of tech, some advanced search options, and icon recognition. We also have done some quality of life improvements, such as speed improvements, along with a new improved tab management. So this is kind of an overview of what we're going to be covering today. Now, I know we have some new customers or not MeasureSquare users in here. So some of the things we go over may be known to everyone already, but we do want to touch base on a couple of things that are that might be relevant to folks who haven't used the software yet. There's an issue with my label at the top left, but on the top left column for the one of the newer functions, we're going to be covering the existing a quick update on the existing auto takeoff, so we get a lot of questions about that. We're going to go over the OCR text recognition and image recognition. Regarding estimation and tab management, we've done some improvements to tab management, which include favorites, folders, and along with on the estimating side, we're going to go over some updated die lot control, which might be relevant to the multifamily users. And then, as I mentioned, some under the hood improvements, such as the catalog and catalog integration API and some speed improvements. So this is a rough overview of what we're going to cover. Without further ado, I believe our next, there we go, image recognition was missing there. So to kind of get to what everyone wants to see, I'm going to jump into the software itself. The best way to go over this is go over the software itself. I don't want to bore everyone with just a bunch of screenshots and a slide deck. So I'm going to switch over my screen here. I believe this will work. Key, can you see my MeasureSquare 8 now? Okay, and then since this will come up at some point, can you see my pop-up screen that just came up as well? Okay, cool. So that's usually a weird issue. Okay, so I know everyone asked about the auto takeoff function, and if there's any improvements coming along. So part of our initiative in 2024 is to invest in the auto takeoff functionality in here. And if you're unfamiliar with what this is, some people don't even know about this, even though they're a MeasureSquare 8 user, is we have a function where you could import a blueprint, right click and select auto takeoff, and you'll notice that it says beta. So once you click this, and I'm running a beta version, so if anything goes wrong, that's just sometimes expected, but this is a pretty stable build at the moment, but it's pretty early, so I can show you some of these new pieces. But right now it's scanning the blueprint, and it's going to try to draw all the rooms automatically for us. And as you can see, it shows I've drawn 22 rooms. So as I come in here, that most of these are done correctly. Some walls might be a little bit overlapping correctly, but it got the interior rooms pretty well, but it missed a couple rooms down here. So this is a function that's already in the commercial version. So if you've never seen it before, when you right click on an image, that's how you could find it. Now what we'll be doing in the coming years is investing into resources into working on this functionality. There's a lot of other companies starting to look at this as well. So it's a little bit of like the early days for this true type of recognition with how complicated floor plans can be. But we do plan to work on improving this for you, as we got a lot of requests and interest from this. So that's just a quick update on it. We will be working towards this in the future. There's no specifics on it right now, but we will be working on improving this and fine-tuning it as well. So if you guys do have any questions about that, again, my email is jim@measuresquare.com. I'm pretty available, and I try to respond as quickly as we can regarding any customer communication. So just want to give everyone a quick update on that. All right, so now moving on to some of the newer things that aren't in here yet. So one of the new additions that we've done in here is you might have heard this before, called OCR. Essentially, it's text recognition. It's taking a PDF or an image file and trying to understand the texts that are presented on here. So on this floor plan here, I have plenty of text on the right side for the legend. And one of the reasons we did this is that sometimes there's a lot of double entry happening, where like copy and paste might be a little bit faster. You might be trying to search things and find it on a very large plan set. So that's part of what we wanted to update on here. And part of that work is combine this with an updated search function within MeasureSquare 8. So we have a search function up here at the top that you might be familiar with. It's very basic. It just search a couple aspects of the software. But now with this rework, when you click on this search, it's going to take you into this room view. And then you'll be able to search all the plans that have been imported into it. There might be some limitations here and there, depending on if it's like a picture of an image, but this does a pretty good job of or a picture of a text, but it does a pretty good job of capturing all the images and storing them in the software. So what this means is if I zoom in here and I right click and drag my cursor over here, the yellow is going to represent all the text that the software has found when it did the initial import. And then the greenish color is what we can actually see from what I can actually grab and copy and paste. So that's an easy way to indicate what we've covered here. So we're hoping this will help eliminate having to use different softwares like to search the text, or like use Bluebeam or something like that, where you have it up on the screen without having to be able to search through the scope of the software, or search for the scope of the project within the software. So you can just try to have less programs and kind of get more things done in one central place during all this. Give me one second. My screen was jumping a bit. I'm going to turn off my camera just for a little bit to see if I can improve the bandwidth here. All right. So again, being able to search, the search function will be able to allow you to search through the scope of the project, search for products, any call outs, inclusions. Then you'll be able to utilize that text to copy and paste, such as room names or product creation. So just as like a simple example here, let's say, if I zoom out, you might have seen this project before. We use this a lot for demos, but I have a lot of different tabs going on down here. And obviously you might get a plan set that has 50 plus pages, and you have to go through them all. So one of the nice additions here, let's say if I want to come into the search area and type in, if I'm doing any type of demo work, for example, if I type in the word demo, and I'll expand this so everyone can see this a bit better, because this is probably depending on the screen size. I'll expand the right panel out here. I'm on the room view, just as a reminder. When I start to do a search, I can search products. I can search products in here as well. But right now, we're going to focus on the text search. So as you'll see, it will start to highlight all the different areas that it found the word demo. If I come in here, for example, and double click on it, it will take me to that plan set and actually highlight the exact area where I found this. So if you're looking for specific products or details, it makes it very easy to find those and jump to that area of the plan set. All right. Sorry, there are a lot of questions coming in, so it's a bit hard for me to follow them on right now. I'll see if I'll just touch base in here real quick. Okay. All right. So that's one of the use cases for it. One of the other interesting use cases for this is that if I'll go back to this original plan here, is when we're creating our products, or if we're creating our relabeling our rooms. So for example, if I come into this plan set right here and I see, I have, let's see, this carpet right here, and I want to add all this detail into a product, I can easily come in here and highlight this, do my normal copy and paste shortcuts, or just use the copy button here. And then when I come into a product, and let's say I want to do a carpet, I can just do my normal Control V, select carpet here, select OK, and then we'll see it added all that text from the legend here into the number SKU, or I can copy it into different areas such as description. So this is kind of a great way to rinse and repeat. So you might have this window open on a different screen for my products, the floor plan open on my right side, and then just going through and copying and pasting if you want to add in all those details to your project assignment list. So it's a really easy way to get all those details in there without having to type everything manually. So we're trying to eliminate those tedious aspects of the software or of the project lifecycle. One of the other options in here too is we notice a lot of folks also like to go through and relabel all the rooms as well. So example, I've already drawn out these rooms since we use that auto takeoff feature. And if I wanted to relabel the room to the actual exam 6, for example, we have an auto room label down here at room 18, but a really cool option is if I hold the Alt key, I'll be able to come in here and so highlight this text and then do my normal copy and paste. So I'm just going to use the on-screen one here. And then when I come down to the room label down here, I can easily do the Control V and then relabel those. So it's a lot faster than typing it manually, and you can just go through and relabel those really quickly. So that's one of the other nice features of having the text recognition in the software now. And I'm sure there's other use cases that other folks will think of besides us. So if you guys will find this useful, feel free to throw it into the chat if you guys think this will be a time saver or helpful for you guys. So we're very curious if this is something that will help you guys out or not, and if it's like a must-have versus nice to have. So I'm seeing some thumbs up. So looks like we found that function. So Appreciate you guys using that. And just to kind of keep it moving on here. Let me jump to my other notes here. One of the other options that's kind of similar to this is we also have a image search in here now. So if anyone's familiar with our Stone software that we've recently been promoting, we took one of the options from there, since it's kind of related to this OCR and auto takeoff functionality. Is to take a screenshot of a image or an icon and then search the plan set for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this to make this a little bit easier, just on the eyes, and show a quick example of this. So if we notice, we have a lot of corner guard on this plan set, and I might want to search to see how many there are roughly, or even start to actually add like a count item for the corner guard. So what we can do now, and this is something that we want to bring up because people might miss it, is if you right click, there's an option that says auto counts. So once I click this, I get a little crosshair, so I can just drag and select this icon or image that I want to search. And then I'll get this little pop-up box here. And then basically I can say, select image on plan, which we just did. I can do search current tab or search a whole project. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to do search current tab. And then it's just going to go through and try to match all those. And then we should have a result in a moment here. So now we'll see that we found all the different corner guards in here as well. And one of the really cool functions about this is to be able to auto apply a product to it. So for example, I can say auto assign count product at the bottom right, and then I can go ahead and select that from my catalog or my project item list. So I already have a corner guard created here. I'll select OK. And then from here, I believe that should be, okay, I have a different window. Sorry, my screens pop up everywhere. I'll get the verification saying it was applied, hit OK. And now I'll zoom out a bit. Hopefully you guys can see this because I tried to make it orange so you can see it. All the areas that I added a corner guard to, that it found, it auto applies them. So, depending on the type of product or how many there are, if this is across multiple plan sets or pages, it can auto apply all of them. So you don't have to go through each one. So this was 37 alone. That's 37 clicks I didn't have to do, essentially. So we're hoping this is another time saver, that we got some positive feedback from the Stone version as well. All right. And I'm trying to think if there's any little details about that. So I think that's a good kind of overview of the image and text search and recognition we've done. One of the next items I want to cover is the tab and room view. And I'm sorry if I'm going a little bit fast. I just want to try to fit in as much as we can, and then we'll try to jump into the Q&A. As much as we can. And just as a kind of a quick, because I do want to try this poll option here. I'm just going to start a poll. I'm not sure how this is going to look on your end. I just curious. I do want to kind of get a sense of how many customers we have in here, versus how many potential customers, or if you're just looking to evaluate this from another software. So if anyone doesn't mind asking, doesn't mind answering, feel free to hit the poll. I'm assuming it's going to pop up on your left side. Already got a lot of people. I'm filling that out, so appreciate it. So I'm just trying out some really quick questions in here, so it's easy. It doesn't take a lot of your reading time. All right, so the next function, I'm pretty excited about this. Is it's pretty straightforward, but I think it's pretty powerful, and I hope everyone finds some use case for it. But you'll notice I have a lot of tabs in this project, and I have a lot of them at the bottom down here, and some of them are just the numbers that automatically get labeled in a PDF packet. Some of them I renamed, and I probably have like 20 or 30 in here, which is not terrible, but it can get a bit tough to manage, especially if these have longer names. So normally you have the kind of like Excel, you have the management at the bottom. We have a little vertical bar we've had for a little while that gives you some extra detail, maybe a little bit easier to navigate, but it's always kind of been just a simple solution. So one thing we wanted to do is improve the tab management and how you navigate across different plan sets. So you'll see in the coming update what we just call a tab view at the bottom right. It's going to be on that property panel, just like the room view and the search we've been doing. And what this is going to do is duplicate some of the functionality we already have, but also add in some new ones. So I'm going to expand this a bit so it's a little bit easier to see. So what you'll be able to do now is organize your tabs in a more, basically just make them more organized. So what this means is You can reorder them from here, and a little bit easier view to see everything. You'll be able to create folders for them, which is a big addition in here, is that you can group these into different folders by drag or dropping or using this icon here, for example, to create a new folder. So for example, if I want to call this, no scope of work, if you get a plan set, you want to make sure no one touches it. I can, actually, I hit the wrong icon there. Sorry. If I hit the new folder icon, makes more sense. I can say, no scope of work as an example here. I can color code it so it's a little bit more visual. Then I can come in here and just select the tabs I want in here as an initial organization structure, hit OK, and then I'll add those tabs into this folder. And then if I want to auto rearrange them, I can use the icons or drag them around or drag a tab into a new folder. So it's very easy to manage, just like any folder structure that you'll use on Windows already or any other kind of platform of software. Now, the one of the other options in here as well is you'll see like the basic details. You'll see if there's a blueprint on there or not, if there's rooms or duplication as well. One of the features I think a lot of people will enjoy, similar to if you have like a tab, just like a browser, is being able to favorite or bookmark things. So you may not be always working, not every plan might be important at that stage in time, or maybe it's like 100 pages and you're only working on 5 at a time. It might be a little bit hard to jump around to them. So we allowed you to add a bookmark to these. So if these little icons that are lit up right here, I have bookmarked. So then when I go into this bookmarks tab, it's just a shorter list, easier to manage. And then when I double click on these, it will easily take me to that tab. So if you're in the tab view or bookmark view, when you double click on a tab, it's a lot easier to jump around to these than going through the vertical icons or the horizontal menu on the bottom that we've been used to. So we're hoping this enables faster navigation and just an easier way to organize your project. So one of the examples I've already heard from folks is, if they completed the takeoff for a set of plans, they may move that into a new folder or have it set up by phases, just as like a simple organizational structure instead of just a giant flat view. So that might be a way to start for everyone once they get their hands on this, is to kind of split up where the phase of that takeoff is by using the folder structure and then moving them around as they're done. And then if you do have a very large plan set, the favorite or bookmark option is a good way to manage which ones you're working on at that point in time. And then we have some of the other functionality that we already had in there, which was, if you want to edit the duplication of the plan set, if it's a unit that has 20 of them, you can duplicate it from this menu as well, similar to the other one. And then you'll also get some room counts. Just if you want some like kind of high level numbers of how many rooms are on a plan set, you'll see that count coming right here as well. And I think the last thing I want to touch upon in this too is, depending on people's screen sizes, and how you like to view things, we do have a couple different sizes. So if you want to make these a little bit bigger for easier navigation, you can. And then one of the other options we're working on too is a bit more of an icon view with these folder structures. So right now we're just seeing the blank images because no takeoff is done. But you'll notice on this die lot tab that we'll go to next is that we'll be able to get an idea of which plans have actually had rooms drawn on them. So we'll see the rooms that I've drawn on this set of plans are showing up here. So another easy way to navigate as you're going through this. So you can easily adjust to the kind of best size that you guys like on the right side as well. All right. All right, appreciate I see some questions coming in. I see some people answering them, so I appreciate it. Thank you, James. All right. Now, moving on to one of the next functions here. We got a few more to cover. I know I'm already going a little bit over on time. Is we do have an update to our dialogue functionality. So if anyone's familiar with this dialogue function, the current way it works now is essentially you can input the number of roles you have, label the dialogues, and then it will try to use those dialogues assuming you can fit them correctly. If it doesn't work, it will just default to the regular roles. The main rule is that you can't have 2 dialogues in the same room. Pretty standard. We're adding some additional control to this dialogue functionality, and this has come, like most things do, from customer feedback. And I believe this will relate to the multifamily folks the most. I'm sure it just depends on the project. But the option is called, let me jump into our settings here. So once you guys get in here, you'll know where it is this auto dial for roll products. So it's on the system settings that are advanced. And once you turn that on, it will essentially auto label dialogs for you. You don't have to put in the amount of rolls that you may have in inventory. So it's a little bit of a reverse order. And then this will help generate essentially a pick list for folks so they can combine cuts to make their inventory used more efficiently. So this will initially auto assign the dial lots by the system, and then you'll still have the option to automatically change those. So this is a pretty straightforward function here. So if I zoom in a bit, hopefully you guys can see this. I have this B cut, an A cut, and some empty rooms here. So in this case, what we have bedroom 2 and a hallway. If the hallway happened to be getting carpet and the user wants to make sure that those two cuts can come from the same dialogue because they might have that inventory. If it doesn't automatically label them that way, you can easily come in here now and automatically switch this. So if I want to switch the hallway to B to match this bedroom number 2, you can automatically do that. And then as you add in more products, it will rearrange and move things around. So for example, if I drop some more products in here, it's going to kind of switch things up as I go through it. So once you get everything laid in, now is the best time where you can come in and readjust this. So you notice I have a lot of B cuts over here. And then, so a lot of B and some A's. So this is also related to the cut sheet down here. So you'll see the same labels down at the bottom. So if you need to, again, override anything, you can easily use a property panel on the right side over here where you'll see auto dialot, and then you can always type them in yourself. So if you want to create a new label for one, you can just type it in. So if I want to make, let's say, this separate room on the far left, let's say since that's not connecting to anything, and I want to use a different piece that might be slightly different, I can go ahead in here and type C, and then it'll automatically relabel that C. But then it's smart enough to know that if these are touching on the cut sheet, it's going to relabel the other cuts that are next to each other. But if I need to readjust those, you can always relabel. So it's still going to have those basic rules of like you're not going to put two different dialots in the same room. And then same with the cut sheet as well, but you can always manipulate these and move these around. So this gives you more flexibility. So it will start with the initial auto dialot or auto naming. And then once it's all applied, you can go through and fine tune by moving them around on the cut sheet or just relabeling them yourself on the right-hand panel view. So we hope this is helpful for folks as well, that when it comes to the inventory management, once you do your estimation itself. All right, just want to see if there's any answers. Okay. All right, so I think there's just a couple more things I want to cover to keep before I just do some Q&A and then some quick questions. As I bring up the next topics, it's kind of related. I just want to touch base on some speed improvements we've done. But I do want to run another poll real quick because we're all it looks like anyone. Okay, cool. So it looks like there's another poll. I'm not sure if I started it or not, but it's asking what is the most time-consuming part of doing a takeoff, essentially MeasureSquare 8. So if you guys haven't seen that poll or answered it, we'd really be interested in getting your feedback. So this is related to importing, you're reviewing the documents, drawing and tracing rooms, product creation, assigning the materials, adjusting and fine-tuning the layouts, such as moving seams around, and things like that, or worksheet creation, and then actually creating the bid and submitting it. So it's always good for us to get your direct feedback on these topics. Then it also helps know where we can start directing focus on certain topics. We do want to put our resources to what might be the most impactful for you guys too. So if you guys have not answered that poll, please do. And it's just like basically a single selection as well. But related to the speed, what I wanted to bring up here is that we have done some work on the loading times of projects. So this is generally going to be more for larger commercial projects, depending on how many megabytes, how many images are in there. But if it's small projects, you're probably not going to notice the difference. But we've essentially been able to increase the load speed by 3 or 4 times. Essentially, we've done this by taking advantage of machines that have multi-core threading on it. So if you have multi-cores, which most PCs do, instead of just using one core at a time, we can use multiple cores to speed up the process. So an example is if you ever had a project file that might take 15 or 20 seconds to load, now it may take 34 seconds to load. So utilizing the resources on the computer a bit smarter, we're able to increase the load times on those larger projects. One of the next phases we'll be doing, it won't be in this next coming update, but the next update is we'll be looking into improving other aspects of the software when it comes to that, and the next step will be syncing. And as more important things get connected to the cloud, like our software is when you're sharing projects to another user, if you're syncing to a third-party ERP system, or you're syncing to one of our other products such as Job Tracker, that can really matter. So we'll be doing some improvement on the syncing speed as well. So you're not just sitting there and you don't now have time to go up and get coffee versus continuing the work. So those are just some of the under the hood aspects that we've been working on. So again, the loading times are going to be a bit faster. Then the next stage we'll be looking at improving the syncing in the same way. All right. So I think those are the main topics we want to cover today. Let me jump back into the chat here. All right. So I think I see regards show the hamster list slide again. Let me jump back over, I think, to this side. I think is what someone wanted to see. Let me just check. I just want to check my slide deck real quick, guys. Make sure I didn't miss anything here. So I'm just going to take a step back and we'll get back into. So the single CR tab, favorites folders, dialog control, and improvements. Oh yeah, so I almost forgot one. The last thing I wanted to mention as far as the main presentation is if there's any technical folks in here or anyone who's looking to expand their catalog integration, we do have some folks who have had their own backend systems or third-party connections with our cloud. We have recently updated our APIs to support our catalogs being able to be updated via API. So if you guys have any questions about that, please shoot me an email, jim@MeasureSquare.com, and I can get you connected to the right people. But essentially, the catalog that you see in MeasureSquare 8 can now be updated through the API, which it was not capable before. You always had to do that from the software or import, export via Excel. So we're able to do the work and get the API opened up for the catalog as well. It's a very new function. So if anyone's interested in it from their ID departments, just shoot me an email, jim@MeasureSquare.com. All right. So now I think we're going to jump into the official Q&A portion, but I'll jump back into the software and I'll see if I can catch any questions in here. Key, if you saw any and want to say them out loud, feel free to mute yourself as well. If you can help me out here. Then, okay, so, yeah, so I think I went over the enhancements list again. I'll make this slide deck available to everyone. When we follow up, I'll attach this to the emails with the videos too. So we'll make this slide deck public. I think there's a way for me to do it here, but I'm not too sure. Let's see here. For the auto takeoff, it looks like someone asked where that button is. If you right click on the plan set, there is the auto takeoff beta. That's the one you want to use. So if you don't see it, it's likely because you don't have the commercial version. So this is part of the commercial version. So if you did want to try this out, you just need to upgrade the license. So the retail multifamily version do not have it, but anyone with the commercial version will have it. Let's see. Okay, so someone said, could you repeat how to search for words on the plans again? Not a problem. So again, this is in the version I have. This is not public yet. So once you guys get your hands on this update, when you import your plan set, that's when it does all the work of scanning and storing the text. And then once you do, all you have to do to highlight anything is just right click and drag. And then the yellow is what's available. The kind of turquoise, I guess, color is what it can actually select. And then for the search function, you can utilize the search at the top right to jump into the room view. And then this room view I'll bring out again. There's going to be this text box on the right side where you can search any text. So if I want to type in CPT, it looks like I can find some CPT on floor plan 18. And if I double click on that, it will take me to that area. So if I'm trying to find out where all the CPT1 or CPT2 is going, this could be a quick way to get a better idea of what plans it is on, or if it's just on one plan. So again, on the right side, on the room view, on their property panel, if you don't see a property panel, it's all these little green arrows, or just little arrows on the top right side. If you ever double click on a room, I believe, let me just draw a room real quick. If you double click on a room, the property panel will always pop out, and then you can switch your view as a quick little shortcut. Let's see. And then if I don't answer any questions here, I believe we'll be able to see everyone's questions after the fact. So we'll do our best to do some follow-up as well. But if you happen not to get a question answer from us, feel free to shoot me an email, again, jim@MeasureSquare.com. And if we miss anything, we'll try to come up with more efficient ways when we have this many people joining. Someone mentioned it would be great if we could import the B2B data from QFloors into our catalog. That is something that QFloors is already working on with their Q Pro. I don't know what their plans are for QFloors, since the Q Pro is web-based, and I think it's a little bit easier. But part of this API catalog work we just did is to make it easier for our partners to do so. So with us doing this part, it should be easier for folks like Rollmaster and QFloors to do so as well. So it's very early stages still, but we kind of like opened the door to it, and then now we'll be able to allow people to come in hopefully very soon with some additional work. So someone again asked, when will this be available? We're shooting for February into March. And the reason I give that kind of large range is so I don't say early February and then I'm a liar. Is mainly because we're in the testing phase right now, and the testing can be unpredictable. We want to get it to a very stable phase, so there is no issues for you guys. So that's where we're at right now. Testing always takes the longest. It's always the most hardest part usually. So we're in the testing phase. We're hoping to get this out into your hands by February, March. If you're interested in beta testing it, please go ahead and email me at jim@MeasureSquare.com or at demo@MeasureSquare.com. And then we may have a select few folks go ahead and do some testing for us. Just keep in mind, if you're testing it, there may be bugs and things like that in there. So we don't ever want you to test with a live project. Just use it for testing out the functionality in some real world scenarios, but don't use it on real projects. Make copies of everything and test it that way, because you definitely don't want to save it in a beta version and then open it in the normal version. It may cause some issues. So if anyone does get their hands on this in an early phase, make sure to not use it. You can use real projects, but don't use the live ones that you're working on. Use copies of them just for the beta testing. All right, I'll see if I can answer any other questions here. Someone asked about importing a CAD drawing. You can import CAD drawings. I believe the file format that we support is DWG. So if you get a DWG file, you can bring those in, and it will just appear the same way in the end, just like a PDF or image file. So this is a little bit of a kind of a next part of the presentation. I kind of wanted to preview for just a moment as we got some Q&A in, but this is kind of a good transition. Someone mentioned this isn't really about specific changes, but how to track quantity changes from addendums and bolt-ins in MeasureSquare. Great question. It happens a lot when, if you get like a revision or a change order or something happens and you need to make a change in the software, how do you track those changes? A lot of people do different tabs or a different file type, but we are actually working on a new platform to handle that, among many other things. So I'm going to jump back into my slide deck real quick, and then we can still try to tackle some Q&A as well as more questions come in. So I'm going to switch over here and bring this up real quick. So we do have another webinar coming up in February. So I know this was short notice. We want to, like I was saying, we want to fit this in before our next, before we kind of leave for a couple trade shows, which I'll let you know where we're all going to be. But our February webinar is going to be on one of our new platforms that we've been working on for about a year or so now, and it's called it's basically a CRM and project management system. And I know we know a lot of people may have heard of CRMs or use one themselves. I talked to a customer who's used Zoho. We use Zoho internally. Some folks use Salesforce, use HubSpot. But what we found just from customer feedback is those do a good job in certain aspects, but they're not geared towards our industry. They're not made for flooring. They're not going to integrate with our estimation data. They're not going to integrate with other industry softwares. And if they do, it's a lot of work on your end to do it, likely because it's going to cost you some resources. So we have been building our own CRM and project management system geared for the commercial folks, but it's also, we already have some early beta users on it for retail multifamily as well. And one of the key benefits of this is that it's heavily integrated with our estimation file. So the estimation files and MeasureSquare 8 we're just using are imported into this system. So this is completely going to be web-based. It's on the cloud, as they say, but you can just log into this using any web browser. And essentially, what as like at a high level, not to give too much away, is that on top of the deep integration with the estimation files, you'll be able to utilize this for project and lead management. Where you'll be able to integrate emails such as Gmail and Outlook into the system, along with the calendar integrations, and you'll have the basic CRM functions like tasks and events and things like that. One of the key aspects is that it's also going to support a schedule of values. So once you do that estimation and it's literally connected into the system, you'll be able to generate an SOV from that, and then update the SOV through work orders and purchase orders, or just manual updates depending on your workflow. So that's a very new functionality that we're literally working on right now. That will be part of this system, which we haven't really seen an SOV tackled in any generic CRM or even anything within our industry. Well, it'll also be handling price requests, where you can track the special pricing from a vendor. If you have like 5 different Dell tiles and you need to get a quote for them for a specific bid, you can select those from the CRM system itself, the exact ones you use for the estimating, shoot that over via email through the CRM system, and then you'll be able to track the status of those and the pricing for them specifically, and then apply them to the actual bid. And you'll be able to build a bid in here. We know a lot of people that will use the reporting from MeasureSquare 8, some Word docs, Excel, Adobe or Bluebeam to build it all out. We're trying to condense all those functionalities into one system. So you'll be able to take the estimation data from MeasureSquare, use the reporting functionalities, do some light custom formulas, edit your cover sheets, edit like kind of text Word docs. You can kind of see it on the bottom right of my screen and build out that bid. And then we're also even working on, because we get this question a lot, we are kind of working on a lightweight web version of MeasureSquare 8 as well. That one's a little bit farther out compared to the CRM itself, but we get that question a lot. But we are working on a deeply integrated web version too, that can be ran in the future. So that's what our next webinar is going to be on. Will be sometime in February. We'll get the exact date out to you guys as soon as we can, as we return from our travels. So I just want to bring that up real quick, and just so we can hopefully get as many people as we join today into that meeting as well. We believe anyone who's using MeasureSquare 8 is a prime candidate for the CRM and project management aspect too. And the last thing I'll bring up, and I'll try to jump back into some more questions for about 5 or 10 minutes, is we're going to be on the road a lot in the coming months. That's why we're so busy in January and why we kind of did this last minute. We're going to actually be in Germany starting next week in Hanover for the Domatech show. So if anyone happens to be over there, feel free to come by and see us. We'll also be, as we are every year. Sorry, I didn't put the booth numbers in here. But if Keelan, if you can throw those booth numbers in the chat, that'd be great. For surfaces, we're going to be there January 24th, 26th in Las Vegas, like we are every year. We'll be back in Vegas for the KBIS show, which is a kitchen and bath show, also in Las Vegas on the end of February. Then we'll be at for any StarNet and Fuse members. We'll be seeing you guys in May. I think it's to be determined for the StarNet show. Fuse in March. Sorry, I had that backwards. In Phoenix, Arizona. And then we'll also be at Coverings in April in Atlanta, Georgia. So please, if you're out and about, if you're in those areas, we love to see you guys in person. So feel free to come by our booths, and we'll be letting you guys know exactly what our booth number is and things like that as we get closer to the show. So that's where we'll be in the next 6 months. Besides, hard at work working on the software for you guys. So just want to bring that up as well. Now let me jump out of here. I'll go back in the software in case anyone has any questions. Ooh, I lost my chat. Let me get back up here. All right, I'm going to jump in the Q&A for about 8 more minutes or so. Appreciate everyone sticking around. We still have a majority of the folks here, so let me see if I can answer any questions for you. Thank you for adding in again, Jim@MeasureSquare.com. If you have any additional questions or you feel like you didn't get anything answered, we'll do our best to get that answers to you the next day or two. What is the best option to find the most up-to-date videos or visual training that we put out? Our YouTube channel is a primary source for videos. So if you please follow our YouTube channel, and then follow it. And then if you have your notifications on, you'll be able to get notification for when we pump out a new video. So when we post this live, you'll be notified of it. So that's one of the primary places. Pretty much any video we have is always going to be on YouTube. And then we also have our knowledge base, which is hosted on our website that you can always access. I'm not sure if there's a simple way to see updates on those, but the videos are the best way. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's see. That's got answered. Good question, because I figured this would come up. For the improved speed aspect, will help with the time it takes to calculate using cut and fit or half reuse. Great question. We don't know yet, to be honest. I'm a big fan of transparency. We will be looking at if the multi-core threading and those things can be utilized for estimating. It may be possible. We just don't know yet. We'll look at that later in the year. But if we can improve the longer estimation functions like roll goods and tile, there's just a lot of calculations going on. We'll do our best to apply it to that. So I know on some of the larger project files, you got to wait a moment for it to go through all the calculation. So if that's possible, we'll look into getting that in there for you guys. For bidding separate options to customers, can we have separate project item lists per tab, like a separate bid? There is a view on here. If you right click on project items, I believe, and go to, let's see if I have this right. I might be missing where this should belong. Oh, you know what? I think I need to estimate by tab real quick. So if you're estimating by tab here, just take a second. And if you're estimating by tab, there'll be an option that says hide other tab phase products. So that means that if I'm on a tab and there's a bunch of products that are on a different tab, but they're not in here, it won't show them. So that's a view. If you're looking to do alternates and things like that, the CRM is actually going to be a really good option to handle those variations and doing different quotes and bids. So there's going to be a quoting and bidding function in there that will be able to handle some of that depending on the exact things you're looking for. But the estimated by tab is the first step into split up those different types of bids. Okay, I saw a couple notes about the free drawing complex tile shapes. We may do some follow up with you guys to see to get some more details on that. That might be a tougher one because it's a very complicated process for the geometry. But we'll see if there's for anyone who's mentioned the free draw tile shapes. Feel free to shoot me an email, jim@measuresquare.com, and please be as detailed as you can so we can evaluate exactly what you guys are having trouble with, or if there's more tile shapes we might be able to add in for you so you don't have to pre-draw. So just let us know. All right. Will CRM integrate with mobile version? Yes, it will. Our platforms are pretty agnostic. So if you're on the iPad, Android, or MeasureSquare 8, those are all the same project file. So it doesn't matter which software they come from in that case. They all sync to the cloud, and then the CRM can see all those files. So if you ever downloaded one of our files as an FEZ file, they're all the same except for the stone, which is just a different structure. So all those will easily sync to the cloud and then sync into CRM. So it doesn't matter which version it came from. Where can we go to save this video? Once we're all done here, we'll send out another email or two with this, and then it will definitely be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So I was saying earlier, it's always the best case is to follow our YouTube channel, and then if you turn on notifications, you'll get notified when we upload a new video or two. All right. And again, if I'm sorry, I think we got a few more minutes. I'll try to scan through if I see if there's any other questions that were not answered. But if you didn't get any questions answered, feel free to shoot me an email. And if I can't answer it, I'll make sure we get a teammate to answer it for you. So again, jim@MeasureSquare.com. If you're interested in getting access to this beta, shoot me an email as well. And then we'll forward that on to we'll review that with our product team to see how many people we might have in there and the timing as well. All right. Scan through here. All right. Again, if you guys have any last minute questions, go ahead and throw them in the Q&A portion as well. And then again, if you always forget where you should contact anyone, support@MeasureSquare.com is always an easy solution for you guys, and that will always get forwarded to the right department if it not happens to be support related. All right, just going to throw another quick reminders. Again, this was being recorded. We'll cut it down a bit and share it to everyone in the next day or two, and then we'll be at a lot of shows over the next few months. So if you're out and about in the world like we are, feel free to stop by our booths and say hi or ask us any questions. We're happy to talk to potential customers and existing customers as well. And then I really invite and hope everyone can join the next webinar. The CRM project management platform is a big project that we're working on. It's all cloud based. It's going to connect directly to our current estimation software. So that's going to be a big advantage compared to the other solutions out there. And the more folks we get on it, the more feedback we get, the better we can build it for you guys. So please keep an eye out for these emails we'll email during January for a probably early to mid-February webinar that goes over the CRM specifically as well. And we already have some beta testers in there too. So we're already getting some feedback and working on it. So if things like the SOV, price requests, integration with MeasureSquare, bidding, hold interest or value to you, it will be a really good webinar for you guys to join in on. All right. And then, all right. All right, then just some quick items since key through these in there for surfaces will be booth 3759, KBIS looks like we're W1576, coverings were 6353, and Domatex were Hall 23, stand A45. So pretty easy to find us once you're there, but those are going to be the shows we're at in the coming months, along with Fuse and StarNet. All right. All right. So I think we're going to wrap it up here. Appreciate everyone's time. Again, we'll be sharing the recording. Sorry for being a broken record. Just want to make sure everyone knows. We'll be sharing the recording shortly. If you guys have any questions or anything that didn't get answered, want anything repeated, whatever it may be, just shoot me an email, jim@MeasureSquare.com or demo@MeasureSquare.com. So pretty easy to get a hold of us via email. And again, thank you for taking the time today. Happy New Year. And we look forward to having these webinars on a monthly basis. So we really do appreciate everyone showing up. And we'll do our best to make sure that these are relevant to you and worth showing up for. And we'll try to keep it as pinpointed on the software as we can, and then as much time as we can for the Q&A too. So, all right. Thanks to you again. I'm going to end the recording now and hopefully see you guys out on the road.